Prima Media's Mining Weekly Online is talking to Steve Phiri, the CEO of Royal Bafokeng Platinum. Steve, I was very interested in this very important decision of the German courts.
I think it's a blessing in disguise. At face value and immediate reaction is that, oh God, another problem coming for platinum market, and therefore diesel is a pariah. But if you go deeper, you need to say, can the German auto industry do without diesel, which is the flavor in Germany itself after investing so long and so much in technology there. They produce the best diesel engines. And the German cars have not been bad in emissions. CO2 is the best. They are cars, of course. We need to acknowledge that the Euro 5 and downwards, some of them are non-compliant, if not many of them. So therefore, you need to say, in order to keep my market share, but in order to keep also my customers happy, so that they don't sit with cars that they cannot trade in, what do? You need to retrofit. Technology is there to retrofit so that they can go, you know, to the required environmental limits themselves. And it has been proven that, for example, Linux trap is one of the best technologies that you can retrofit into engines. So therefore, what we're saying is that yes, there's a hype, and it's a wake-up call for the auto industry to keep their clients happy, to keep the sentiments positive themselves, so that people don't switch to petroleum cars. And therefore, what you need to do is to go on-road testing, retrofit and go on-road testing, but improve even your Euro 6 even much better. And the consumer will say, wow, these cars have been tested and successfully by independent tester, and therefore I can buy that car because it's not going to be banned from entering into the city of Munich or Stuttgart. So, and secondly, it's retrofitted, and therefore it's compliant, and it's signed off like our South African Bureau of Standards. So that will be a much of a positive, and people are not aware of the fact that WPIC in Alliance, Air Alliance, are busy with that technology, and the results are very good now. And we'll roll out that technology to Europe and virtually offer it, because it's in our interest that we should offer that technology, so that then we remove that anti-diesel sentiment. The IPA, the International Platinum Association, of which we are members themselves, are busy with diesel communication and consuming. I mean, going to the consumer and say, listen, yeah, diesel is not as bad as you read in the papers. This diesel car downwards, yes, it's not good for NOx, but this can be done. But the Euro 6 and upwards are the best, and they've been tested. You love diesel because of power, because drivability, because of the range of the tank. Stay with it because these cars are compliant. So that communication is going on. Petroleum industries are also trying, working on the technology to improve the quality of diesel, because you can bring an AutoCAD, but if the diesel quality is not good, it won't help again. So there is a concerted effort in that direction. The results might not show today, tomorrow, this year, but certainly 2019 going forward, we should see the results.
How close are we to platinum substituting palladium?
We are very close, with the platinum price hovering at these levels and the rand strengthening forever. The revenue basket price continues to reduce, and therefore the gap between platinum and palladium, as far as the basket price is concerned, is widening too. So you're absolutely right. The hype about palladium demand rising could only be short to medium term, because down the line we're going to see stocks depleting. And with the mines closing, especially South African mines, many shafts closing itself, there's going to be a serious shortage of palladium. And you cannot carry on like that when there's a metal there which is better than palladium, which you can use, because of another, I don't know what reason one might say, but we know that rhodium and platinum are far better than palladium.
You did a nice acquisitive deal with Maseve. How does this help Stelldrift?
It does. Remember, Stelldrift is planned for 230,000 tons per month. But when the market dipped and we decided to stagger the ramp up of Styldrift into two, but also because of unavailability of capital, because of weaker capital markets, and ramp up to 150, which is sufficient for the current concentrating capacity at our mine, which is 250. So that then down the line, once we have ramped up with the cash flows from the business, then we can go to 230 by building 80 kiloton plant. But with Maseve becoming available, then that time came sooner, and it removed that bottleneck, that negative. Therefore, we acquired Maseve, and therefore we've got 110 now, 110,000 tons per month capacity, and we can ramp up to 230. And that is the biggest plus, at the cost far lower than we would have spent to build a new plant completely. So the synergy really came in very handy. But remember that there is a mine also there with infrastructure, which we can use and we will use to access our down deep Freshgewacht ounces. They are only about 100-120 meters from the border of Freshgewacht, so it needs capital really to develop into Freshgewacht, and then we can start hoisting cash flows earlier.
You've already spent about 8 billion. You will have to spend in excess of 10 billion. What will that give you at Styldrift?
Well, we are mechanized at Styldrift, low cost, 15% cheaper in cost of production to the existing BRPM mine. Safety, mechanized mines are safer than your normal conventional low stope mines. There are accidents in mechanized mines, but less, and you can roof bolt easily than if you have got to nail down the stope. So, but it is cost efficient. It is high grade. It is very much sloping quite gently. Very accessible. It's a beautiful mine with beautiful cash flows. You can see already with our results how much you have produced and the cash generated from a ramping up mine.
Your costs were really well contained. Did this create a lot of pain in business?
It does create pain if it has to deal with people. You cannot be heartless to say I've reduced cost and celebrate. You've got to say, this is a sine qua non. This is something that had to be done. Unfortunately, it was unavoidable. But the results are showing, because at the end, you don't wallow in self-pity and say, oh, my costs are going up, but I can't do away with people. People need to understand what you need to do is to limit and mitigate the serious impact of retrenchment, and which we did. So we moved people around, some to Styldrift, and some we opened up the Merensky at South Shaft and mined more Merensky at South Shaft rather than unprofitable ounces. So the number ultimately that left the business was very, very small. Still, it is painful because you have got to lay off people.
You produced about another 700 houses. Are you accommodating your people close to the mine?
Well, it's not necessarily close to the mine, but the workers chose the land, and I congratulate them for that. The land, which is in a prime area of Rustenburg, because they wanted to create a tradable asset, so that if he leaves the mine or down the line, he can always sell the house rather than build houses in a mining area, which normally becomes a ghost town when the mine reaches its ends of life. So it's a wonderful estate you can stay at, whether you work for the mine or not.
The winds of political change are blowing here. What should be done to improve mining as an investment destination and improve the whole outlook for this industry?
I think President Ramaphosa couldn't have done better, than appointing Mr. Gwede. People see him as a former trade unionist, the General Secretary of National Union of Mine Workers. Yes, he was, and he did quite a good job there. But many people don't know that he understands mining more than being a trade unionist. He was part of the first mining charter team, and I was part of that team, and I traversed the world with him and the former minister Phumzile Mlambo-Ngcuka, selling the mining charter to the investment community, and he was outstanding there, and he enjoys a lot of respect from the investment communities locally and globally. So therefore, I don't think it's about what government can do. It's about what we as the industry can do together with government, together with all the stakeholders, communities and unions and what have you. And I think he understands that collectively as a team, we need to stand up and say, no more shall we allow this industry to be devastated and destroyed by a single man.
That was Creamer Media's Mining Weekly Online, speaking to Steve Phiri, the CEO of Royal Bafokeng Platinum.